Hi, everyone. Welcome to another Wellness Wednesday. My name is Winant. I am a peer health educator in the Office of Health Promotion and Wellness.
And my name is Nikhil, and I'm also a health and I'm a peer educator at the Health Promotion and Wellness Office as well.
So, this evening, we're going to be talking about making friends and fostering healthy relationships. Okay, so like we said, we're peer health educators. We do presentations and workshops on a variety of topics, including mental well-being, sexual and relationship violence prevention, and substance use education. So this evening, we're gonna be defining what is a healthy and an unhealthy relationship and discuss how to make and maintain friendship. Okay, so let's talk about healthy relationships. Nikhil, what does a healthy relationship look like to you?
Well, one thing that I always look for is someone that's very supportive, both of my work and as well as just being someone I can rely on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like one of the main things.
Yeah, definitely. And when we do workshops on relationships, healthy relationships, that's something a lot of people say. A healthy relationship, whether romantic or platonic, consists of trust, communication, honesty, being supportive, and respecting your boundaries. And I think a lot of times when we just say relationships, we often apply those only to romantic relationships, and we don't think of the platonic relationships in our lives. They deserve just as much boundaries, just as much, dare I say, rules as you would give romantic relationships. Because when you have platonic relationships, you are forming a bond with someone else. You have friends you want to spend your time with. And sometimes, just like you would with work and school, you must set boundaries. You have to um, take care of yourself in friendships as well. So let's look at what unhealthy relationships might look like. Like, what would an unhealthy relationship look like to you?
Um, I know the term gets thrown around a lot on like social media, which is the idea of like someone being toxic. And that connotation kind of brings me like someone texting you a lot, not allowing you to see a lot of other people, and possibly being either like verbally or physically harming you. Do those kind of fit in the vibe of an unhealthy relationship?
Yeah, definitely. You definitely wanna look at how, you interact with others and look at how, it may affect them. So when we think of unhealthy relationships, we look at that power-based dynamic, the isolation. And this is where I wanna talk about the spectrum of relationships because yes, we say healthy and unhealthy, but relationships really exist on a spectrum. So you have healthy, unhealthy, and abusive relationships. And oftentimes when we say, oh, that relationship is unhealthy, that relationship is toxic, yes, that it may be categorized as unhealthy, but sometimes we may be confusing some characteristics with abusive relationships. And I just want to point out like a key difference between a healthy and an abusive relationship. So in an unhealthy relationship, you may find that there is no communication. So, for example, with a platonic relationship, you may have a friend who does something that you're not really comfortable with, but you don't really address the situation with them. You're not communicating how you feel in that relationship. And the same could go in a romantic relationship. However, when we think of an abusive relationship, the communication becomes more hurtful and intentional. So it's threatening someone, insulting and demeaning them. It's not just not communicating how you're feeling or just ignoring the way that you're feeling. It's intentionally trying to hurt that other person or make them feel less. Another example would be disrespect. So, in an unhealthy relationship, you may find that one person may not be considerate, one or both person may not be considerate of the other person's feelings or boundaries. However, when we talk about an abusive relationship, we find that intentional disrespect of their feelings, their thoughts, and decisions, or even their safety. So oftentimes we need to be aware of that, especially when we, as we will talk about a little bit later on when we talk about making friends, and how we can look for those signs in a friendship that is beginning, that is forming, or even a friendship that may already be existing. And I also want to say that, a healthy relationship as well looks different for everyone. It's not, you can't compare a relationship with someone and their relationship with someone else. We all have different friends for different reasons. We may have study buddies, we may have friends that we love to go to art shows with. So when we talk about healthy and unhealthy and those boundaries, we also want to understand the dynamic of that relationship as well. Were you going to say something, Mikhail, on that?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that is becoming even more relevant, especially in defining like a healthy relationship, is respecting you and your boundaries. And because everything's like moved online with like both school and just like mainly your relationships in general, I feel like boundary setting may be more difficult because everyone's like, if you're accessing your work, you're accessing the place where everyone would hang out as well, you know? So what do you think are some tips in creating boundaries for like either your work and then as well as just maybe your day and when you can like have time to actually like hang out?
Yeah, I think setting boundaries is very hard for a lot of people to do, especially now that we're digital and we're doing both work and school online. It can be really hard. But one thing you can do is actually just set out a time to plan. Even if you don't follow things to like a rigorous, strict schedule, planning out your day, planning out your time can help with setting those boundaries. For example, your friends may want to have a Zoom party every week or every weekend, but you may not want to do that. You may want to take a break and just find time to relax. Having setting a boundary could be possibly scheduling in that little relaxation, that free time in your schedule, and just communicating with your friends. Hey, I would love to have that party with you. However, I just really want to take some time for self care and some relaxation. Communication, like we said in the beginning, is especially important, and you shouldn't be afraid to let others know how you are feeling. It's very important in maintaining healthy relationships. I think that's one good way to do that. And when we think of online presence apart from video calls and video chats, when you are perhaps working, set your phone aside, don't text back, set time aside. So okay, I have to do work, I need to do work, I need to do schoolwork, I want to focus on my schoolwork for this time, and then maybe I can go in and check the group chats, check the Snapchat and see what's going on. Creating that space for that task, for that one thing, and being intentional with that, I think would be a very good way to set boundaries, especially now in this digital world.
Yeah, and I think just to add on to that, one thing that I've been like visually doing is like trying to understand like if I was in like an in-person world where we like would go to work at the same place and meet there, how would I structure my time, and would I be doing the same things that I'm doing like on my computer? So like if I'm working on like, let's say like this presentation and getting everything that like in order, I probably wouldn't be like blasting music or texting my friends back and forth. That would probably be a little bit more of a focused state. And then taking time to like take a break every like 30 minutes or so and attend to anything else that I would want to do. So that's been like one way for myself to create a bit of a boundary differential there.
Yeah, exactly. And so before we go ahead and talk about actually making friends, let's just talk about abusive relationships and just offer some resources for just one moment.
Mm-hmm.
So when we think about someone who's in an abusive relationship, oftentimes you may be wondering how we can help that person, even if it's in an abusive friendship as well, how we can help that person. I think one thing to keep in mind and to understand is that abuse is the fault of the abuser. It's never the survivor or the victim's fault for what they're going through. And you can have abusive friendships just like you can have abusive relationships as well. And you need to think and reflect, if you may be getting a couple red flags, are your needs being met? Are you getting what you want out of the relationship? And I don't mean that in a kind of a take way. I mean, like, are you getting that mutual respect, that mutual trust, that mutual honesty that we talked about, and really reflecting on that. And I would say definitely connect with your support system, your other friends, your family, talk to them. Sometimes you may be hesitant, especially going to family for relationship advice on what's happening. But sometimes they may be seeing something that we're not seeing. The phrase "love is blind." Sometimes we may not really see what is going on. And that's especially important when we think about why do people not leave abusive relationships. We need to understand that there are several reasons why. Maybe, conflicting emotions, there may be pressure from society or even culture. There may be a distrust of authority, especially if it becomes something severe. And sometimes we may be reliant on that other person and we don't feel that we have anywhere else to turn to. I just want to say that HBW is and will always be a resource for anyone looking for support or for help. We have professional staff in our office who are trained to handle these types of situations. So be always know that you can either call us or email us, and someone will always be there to guide you through whatever is going on and to give you the necessary support and resources that you may need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now that we are in this online D2L kind of world where we're just kind of looking at our notifications and seeing what's next to do, it can be hard to make friends, right? We have our Zoom calls every week and we're there for like that hour and a half just to get that information. But that passing by in the hallway is just not present anymore like it was once when things were in person. So some of the ways that we can combat this is just introducing yourself. I feel like the largest barrier in these online classrooms is that we don't have the time in class to actually interact with one another. So having a little bit of time spent outside to either exchange your socials and introduce yourself if your professor hasn't made like a thread for a discussion board of who you are, where you're from, what your major is, and different things that you're interested in, then that could be also something that you can, I guess, be the leader on and push for, because like class should be fun, it shouldn't just be all the time working. It should be allowing yourself to cultivate relationships that benefit you long-term and make the content even more engaging. So one of the ways to do that can be reaching out to classmates to study together. That can either be just done through an email, or the one thing that I really like about exchanging socials is that it provides more low key of like a, like there's a more informality to it rather than like sending a email, you know, with best wishes or whatever, and then signing it yourself. So it allows you to kind of reach that acquaintance level at an online state. And one of the things that has helped me a lot when I first transitioned to college was to join a club that I was interested in. We have a virtual fair happening this Friday from, I believe, 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you are interested in that, clubs will be there. There's more information on D-Hub that you guys can check out. And that would be like a great time to just, you know, see what clubs DePaul offers and what might interest you. For myself, particularly, I found that the rowing team interested me last year, and it was just a great way to like start meeting new people, and they introduce you to even more people. And it's also like, it's fun to have activities, you know, to like do outside of the schoolwork. And the other thing I want to note on joining clubs is that there are both like extracurricular, just for fun ones, and then there are also like more professional development ones. So depending on your major, like for advertising and PR, there's like different clubs that help you with that, as well as introducing like, you know, having speaker events or other networking opportunities. But then there's also the other side of things where it's just for you to connect on like a passion, like Dungeons and Dragons has events, and they play, or there's just a variety of niche things that you can all be a part of. And I think that's one thing that can really help create the community when we are learning from a distance. And so a large part of this is maintaining friendships. I know that we've all like met someone that we thought would be cool to hit it off with, and then maybe we just didn't keep up with them, or maybe that also fell through in the summer as well, where you want to call your friends, but it just seems difficult to actually plan a time. One of the ways that I found to avoid that scheduling all the time is to have like a routine call where it's like, all right, every week, 2 p.m. Friday, let's call, let's go for like 30 minutes to an hour. Let's just block that off in our day. And that's like one way to, you know, check in with your friends and create that space where you can, you know, say how your week is going, how things have been, and what you want to do further if you have any difficulties that you may need support on.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. Sometimes like when I feel like I haven't, you know, interacted with my friends very often, sometimes I just send them a message saying, "Hey, what's up? Just checking in," you know. And you don't have to have that long conversation, you know, just keeping the form of contact is really beneficial and really healthy, you know, letting them know that you're still thinking of them, you're still wondering how they're doing, you're still wishing them well. I think it's really nice. I do that on occasion with some of my friends, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's so nice, that's so sweet," you know, and then they'll do it back a couple of weeks after, especially if we're in two different countries, two different states, or what have you. So that's a really good way to still keep that line, like you said, Nikhil, keep that line of communication open. And when we, especially if it's a friend that you made through social media, you know, and you've just been, you know, liking all their Instagram posts, for example, you know, just or if you're watching their stories, like I have a friend who does that all the time. You know, she'll watch my stories and she'll comment on it, even if we're not like active, haven't been actively talking for a while. She'll comment on it, and you know, I'll respond to her comment, you know, and keep that energy there, keep that that care, that connection there. So it doesn't have to be anything you know, high energy or anything that requires calculation all the time as well. So yeah, definitely.
And another thing I want to mention is that like video calls can be really tiring. So if you do need to like exercise and like go for a walk and get some fresh air, and you still want to talk to someone, that could be like a great way to call them just over the phone and go on a walk and just bring some headphones along. And if you want to do a virtual lunch, that's also like an option. I know like we aren't sitting in restaurants or going out to the dining hall, but just eating with someone has proven to be like a very, I don't know, meals are just a very community-based activity in general.
Yeah.
So doing it over the phone or having lunch like that might be great. Netflix Party is like a plugin that you can add to Netflix, and it gives you like a side chat bar, and you can like, it pauses your video at the same time. So you're basically watching the video together or movie together, even if you do live in like different areas. So that's something to explore. And just once again, attending club events. I think it's hard to branch out right now. Outside of class, you may not know, you don't like bump into people in between. So attending these club events could be a great way to just say hello, meet new people, see what everyone's up to, and what you can be learning more about if you're interested in something too.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to feel like you're mandated to attend every club event if you're looking, to maintain friendships with people that you have in that club. Just keeping that interest there, again, it's really important. And if you've met someone through a club, why not exchange socials as well, and have another means where you can keep that communication there, and you can check on them. For example, in my first year when I transferred to DePaul, I was in a club and we used to hang out a lot during the in-person events, and that was our way of hanging out with each other, and maintaining that friendship. And when we moved online, it was very difficult to maintain our friendship because we weren't having that many events. And, it was virtual and I didn't have everyone social or anything like that. But when we were at events, it was fun. It wasn't exactly like when we were on campus, but it was still that communication, that energy, that great vibes that we had in person. And it's fun. It's good. It's also a good way, I think, to at the end of a week or in the middle of the week to just take a break from the schoolwork and the hecticness of being a university student, and just to relax with some friends and play a game or do an activity or whatever the club event is. Especially if it's a non-professional club, it's a great way to do that as well. So I know that we all have Zoom fatigue. We've all developed it, and it's hard to go on Zoom after Zoom after Zoom. But I definitely feel that it's worth it for that little dose of serotonin, seeing people that you have shared interests with, and that you really enjoy spending time with.
Mm-hmm. So these are some resources. These are two bit.ly links. So for healthy relationships, this is a bit.ly to /HPW relationships. And this will take you to, I believe, loveisrespect.org. And it'll talk about like what's healthy, what's unhealthy, and give you a little bit more information in depth in an article, as well as provide a lot more resources on that page. They do provide, like, I believe, a survey that you can take if you are unsure. And as always, like, the Health Promotion and Wellness Office is like your resource for you. We're here if you're, struggling with something with like mental health or substance use, or if you want training with sexual and relationship violence, we're there for prevention of that, as well as educating people on that. So this will take you to the landing page, HPW Contact. That'll take you to the landing page, so you'll have the emails at the bottom, and then you can also look at the resources at the top, as well as the different things that we offer there.
Yeah, and don't ever, like I said before, don't ever hesitate to reach out. And even if you just want to talk, to pro staff are always willing to talk to students just about anything. If you're not ready to dive deep into whatever it is that you really want to talk about, we're always welcoming and opening. And we have an amazing pro staff in our office. And we also do, like we said, various topics. We deal with various issues and stuff. So we'll always be there to help you with whatever you're navigating through your university experience here at DePaul.
Yep. I believe that's it. Do you have any last things to say, Lynette?
Final thoughts. I think I would say making friends in university is definitely hard. It's not something that is gonna come easy just like that, and it may feel intimidating sometimes. But from my experience, a lot of people at DePaul are pretty welcoming, pretty friendly, pretty open. I remember my first the first like club fair
Involvement
in the
fair?
involvement fair. The words escape me. My first involvement fair, everyone was super nice. And I just remember, even before I started, I was looking at different clubs and different things I was interested in and wanted to join. There was this one club on campus actually, and I just used to like all their different things. And I remember it wasn't necessarily at the involvement fair, but it was something. And I remember, going up to their table, and the person who was running it recognized my face from all the likes on their
Like social media?
Instagram posts, their social media posts, and we just started talking after that. I was very interested in what the club was doing. We've stayed friends ever since. And that person is actually a past peer health educator at DePaul. It's Christy. She's currently the GA in our office. So definitely don't be afraid to put yourself out there. It's worth it. There are so many amazing people at DePaul that I am so grateful and thankful that I've met, because I've stepped out of my comfort zone. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I also find that I don't know, it's nice to just see what other people are up to and support them in their endeavors too, especially if they're not in your major as well. I think it's great to see how they are going through school and how it's for them, because I feel like there are all a lot of commonalities to it, but you can always learn something from other people as well.
Yeah, most definitely. And not even if someone is in the same major as you, I guarantee you're not gonna have necessarily the same experiences. So it's always gonna be very interesting to see what that other person is doing with that major, with those interests that they have, and connecting over that. Digging a little deeper into what they're doing. Yeah, I feel like there's so many, like I said, so many talented and amazing people at DePaul. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining us for Wellness Wednesdays. Be sure to follow us on @HealthyDePaul for more information about our events. And yeah, we'll see you next Wednesday. Take care, everyone.
Bye. Take